Been kind of a hectic day. At 11 a.m., went to go see Toy Story 5. Got so inspired, got the songwriter zoomies. Went home, wrote the end credit song for Toy Story 5. We have now produced it, and I'm doing vocals. It's 6:57 p.m. In 2 hours, Bob Iger and Tom from Pixar are coming to hear it. We have not recorded it yet. And I think this is one of the most fun days of my life.
I was 5 when I first saw Toy Story, the first film, and I actually still have my VHS tape from 1995. I think it really speaks to if you've made resounding, meaningful art, if somebody has kept their VHS tape for 31 years. For me, all of the Toy Story films have just these incredible scores, theme songs. Randy Newman has so delicately woven together a signature sound for these films, and I think that's something that I'm just in awe of, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it. But I knew it, I knew you. When it came to writing I Knew It, I Knew You, I just blathered out, we have to write this song, because for us to have an opportunity to write for this film as the first songwriters outside of Randy was really... I think the thing about Jessie's story in Toy Story 5, without spoiling anything about the film, is that we've seen her since the second film, and we've loved her since then, and we've seen her go through such heartbreak and such, triumphs and loss, and we've learned her backstory. But in Toy Story 5, we see such a character development and really lessons that I could relate to as she's grown up and as she's learned more about her experiences and her memories, and not just with Bonnie, but also with Emily. I think when people hear the song, I Knew It, I Knew You, at the end of Toy Story 5, I think that it would be really awesome if they thought of somebody that they had amazing memories with that they haven't seen in a long time, or someone that they miss, knowing that that person could come back into their life, or just the feeling that sometimes people's paths diverge, and that doesn't mean that that's the last time that you get to feel those memories or know that person. And sometimes when you look back on your childhood, those memories, that's special in itself. It means so much to me to actually be a part of this film in some small way, just because it's such an incredible world of imagination and playfulness and mischief and humor and comedy and tragedy. It's raised so many kids just like me. I watched Toy Story when I was 5, and I've watched every single one of the films so many times. So I really think that to be able to be welcomed into something that has welcomed me unknowingly its entire existence, just as a fan, feels very poignant for me and for my family. Even though I've been writing songs for so long, and I've started songs and finished songs so many different ways, they've gone through so many journeys, they've happened quickly, they've happened over time, they've been inspired by my life, by mythology, by fables, by books, by movies, by characters, by warnings, lessons, and they never quite happen exactly the same way, and I still don't quite understand how it works. I have this very strong opinion that when you're young, you feel things on such a intense and detailed level. There's an attention to detail when you are 17 to 22 years old and you're longing, or you're reaching and grasping but never holding someone's attention or someone's love or someone's dedication, and you can't understand why. You spend all day thinking about it. You notice everything. You notice candle ash on the cuff of the shirt and the button, and it's everything that makes the mythology of those intense feelings that you have. And I've always tried to, without being a completely unhinged adult, keep that level of detail and intensity when it comes to trying 12. As soon as my love for singing and picking up an instrument happened, songwriting just spontaneously started becoming the entire cornerstone of my life. I think the first songs that I fell in love with was the type of songwriting that I think folk and country is really kind of known for. It's that story time structure. Songs like Harper Valley PTA or Goodbye Earl by the Dixie Chicks, or any amazing Kenny Chesney song where a hypothetical structure would be, first verse, little girl, learns a lesson that in the chorus her mom teaches her about. Then the little girl grows up and now she's a teenager and she realizes, oh my God, my mom was right about this. Now the second time you hear the hook, that same hook means something a little bit different because she's like grown up in her life. Then the bridge, maybe she goes on in her life. She has a little girl. She imparts that wisdom onto her. And then if you really want to get me to cry, like bring back that same first line of the song and end the song with it. So that was the first thing that made me think it's got to be country music. That was the first type that I really fell in love with. But then lyricism, I was the most intensely impacted by emo music, right? Dashboard Confessional, Chris Carrabba, Fall Out Boy, Pete Wentz's lyrics, how they take a common phrase and then they just twist the knife of it, right? Like, I'm just a notch in your bedpost, but you're just a line in a song. Drop a heart, break a name, right? Like, it's drop a name, break a heart. But they switched it. And those are the kind of lyrics where I would read the lyrics to those songs, or the specificity of Hands Down by Dashboard Confessional, where I'd be reading those lyrics and I'd just finish reading a line and just go, oh my God. I got a publishing deal when I was 14. I was signed by a guy named Arthur Buenahora at Sony, and he just believed that I had a perspective that mattered. And I actually asked him if he could please hold my songs from being pitched to other artists. I was like, just give me some time to try to get a record deal. I'm gonna try so hard. I could almost compare it to the Brill Building. They have these offices on Music Row, or at least they had a lot of them then, that were like these small houses, these like cottages and bungalows. Now we have really tall buildings. Basically, you'd go there and there'd be 3 songwriters writing in this room, 3 songwriters in this room, 4 in this room, 2 in this room. And I would just go to school. Then my mom would drive me downtown 30 minutes, and I would go and I'd have a songwriting session with someone that I'd never met before, but I really didn't want to come in unprepared. So I'd walk in with 4 to 5 nearly finished things, 2 half-finished things, 10 hooks, because I just never wanted people to be like, yeah, there's this like little kid that thinks she can swan her way into Music Row and just like write songs with these hit songwriters. But I think one of my favorite things about the Nashville music scene, country music and the storytelling where it was when I arrived there was almost this tradition of sort of breaking the fourth wall, making the song then a part of the song, or the writing of the song becomes a part of the song. And I did that in a song called Tim McGraw, where, I'm singing about this kind of love lost and hoping that person thinks of me. And then in the bridge, it's revealed that I wrote this song and I hope he hears it. The song, Our Song, which I still love so much. It's all about this romance and this relationship. And then in the end, it says, I grabbed a pen and an old napkin and I wrote down our song. So I loved doing that. I still kind of love doing that. The kind of just like favorite end plot twist I think that I've done in songwriting is the ending of The Last Great American Dynasty. That's my favorite one. It is just so much fun to tell this story about this real woman who lived in history and she defied the social norms and she drove people crazy and she had a marvelous time ruining everything. And you talk about the house she lived in on the coast. And basically then in the end, you're like, she moved away from Holiday House. It sat quietly on that beach, free of women with madness, their men and bad habits. And then it was bought by me. And you're like, every time I get to that part when I would sing it on tour, I just have to kind of like I wanted my grin to go from here to here, but that looks crazy. So it's like I had to taper down my own excitement that hook happened. I learned you can't ever really tell if other people are gonna like it, but oftentimes when I love it to a certain degree, that kind of tends to match up with people. And it could be that it doesn't match up with the way people feel till six years later. I loved the Reputation album. I was like, you guys say what you want. I know what I did. I love it. Go with God. Sorry. You can come around if you want. It's okay if you don't. And then, 6 or 7 years later, people are like, oh my God, like, ready for it. Like, people slept on that song. When we were making that song, I just remember like I wanted to like headbang myself through a wall. I felt that when we wrote Ready for It. I felt that way during writing Getaway Car. I felt that way. I think the first time I felt like I don't care if people hate this because I love it so much was when I wrote the song Love Story. When I was 17, sitting in my bedroom, mad at my parents because they wouldn't let me go on a date with a guy who was too old, so I shouldn't have been on a date with him anyway. And this is why you need to discipline your kids, because they might write songs that go